gaggle of scum.
Top action-packed Scott Adkins movies that you cannot miss. We all love an occasional action-packed drama, and what better to fit the bill than a story teeming with martial arts? Scott Adkins is a special name in this genre because he is one of the few actors who actually is a martial artist himself. His career has spanned across some popular hits, where his martial arts skills awed the audience. Besides the usual action movies, he also auditioned for the role of Batman in the movie Batman v Superman. While the role eventually went to Ben Affleck, it is beyond a doubt that Scott would have pulled off a dynamic Batman. It all started for him after he had his big break with a Hong Kong martial arts movie in 2001. After working with the leading directors of Hong Kong cinema, he moved west to work on some projects with the BBC. Eventually, he found his way into feature films after he was cast in Special Forces. He is known for doing all his stunts by himself and never requires a stuntman. In this video, we will give you a sneak peek into some of the finest Scott Adkins movies that are too good to miss out.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Boyka, Undisputed, 2016. How does a professional fighter deal with the trauma of accidentally killing someone in the ring? In this movie, Boyka is a skilled fighter who is looking for wins in the big fighting leagues. But during one of his fights, he accidentally kills his opponent and starts to question everything that he stands for. Watching the pitiful state of the deceased fighter's widow, Boyka is determined to win the fights as her champion, even if some of the fights are almost impossible to win. This is the fourth movie of the Undisputed movie franchise, but like many cases, the later attempts often involve lesser budget and lesser known stars. In this movie, Scott Adkins was the perfect fit for the role of Boyka, and it's almost like a young Stallone in Rocky. He evolved further from his role in Undisputed 3, Redemption, and his fans are in for a treat. There are frequent fight sequences, and besides the amazing hero, you also have an intimidating villain in Martin Ford. Scott is as impressive with his flying kicks as he is with his soulful acting for the emotional scenes. Many gravitating scenes will draw your attention, and one particular moment involves Boyka training with his punching bag when another fighter tries to claim it. Although the legendary action director Isaac Florentine, who directed the previous Undisputed movies, couldn't return for this one, the action direction is still up to the mark. The fight sequences, especially the ones in the ring, will make your blood boil. We can't imagine action fans hating on this one. Ip Man 4, 2019. This is the fourth installment of the Ip Man series, where Ip Man travels to San Francisco for the schooling of his son. He tries to get a recommendation letter from the Chinese Benevolent Association, but he realizes that the martial arts masters are unhappy with one of his students, who teaches kung fu to Americans. Besides this, there is a racial discrimination against the Chinese, and things get worse as Ip Man must stand up for his fellow countrymen. Donnie Yen, the man who plays Ip Man, might be getting old, but he still packs quite a punch with this action-packed addition to the franchise. Funnily enough, although many people think Bruce Lee is actually a part of a few scenes in this movie, that's not the case. While the movie does entertain, there are a few complaints regarding the portrayal of Americans as brainless and prejudiced demons filled with hatred. However, you can choose to ignore the flaws and focus on the plentiful fights that this movie has to offer. The scene where Ip Man fights with Wang Zhonghua is truly remarkable. Scott Adkins reunites with action choreographer Yuen Wu Ping for the third time, and their combination kicks up quite a storm in the action scenes. His fight scene where he defeats Wan Zhonghua and the one where he fights Yip Man are some unforgettable moments in action history. Don't be mistaken into thinking that this is a mindless action flick, as there are some emotional moments involved as well. While Scott Adkins might not be in the lead for this one, it still counts as one of his best works. Close Range, 2015. A rogue soldier unwittingly manages to get a hold of a flash drive while rescuing his niece from a drug cartel. When the gang descends upon his sister's home looking for the drive, he must stand up to them. But his troubles are mounting, as he is also faced with a corrupt local sheriff and his crew of dishonest deputies. In a non-stop assault, he takes on the combined forces to protect his loved ones and prevent the drive from falling into the wrong hands. We have to admit that the script here is more of a mishmash of some overused conventions of action cinema. It still manages to make an impact, largely due to the well-choreographed fight scenes and a lot of gunfights that promise an adrenaline rush. Some of the gunfights that take place in close quarters with all the guns blazing are indeed a spectacle. With the famous action director, Isaac Florentine, in charge of things, the stunt scenes are well thought out. And so are the innovative camera angles. The very first fight scene shows Scott laying waste to 7 thugs single-handedly, and this is beautifully shot with a single extended camera shot. The use of slow motion in the fights is also cleverly used. The climax scene, where hard-hitting hand-to-hand combat steals the show, is going to be worth your efforts for watching this film. Accident Man, 2018. In this story of revenge, Scott Adkins plays the role of the protagonist, Mike Fallon, who is a famous hitman. He is famously known for being a dangerous killer who makes his hits look like they are accidents or suicide. Things take a nasty turn when his own gang members murder the love of his life. Now he seeks vengeance and unleashes his wrath on his own crew. Will he be able to deliver his brand of swift justice? The story was penned down way back by Pat Mills and Tony Skinner, and Scott Adkins had the dream of starring in the movie adaptation since he was a kid. The movie stays true to the source material and doesn't tamper with the details. Besides the brilliance of Scott Adkins, you also have Ray Stevenson in a pivotal role. The action scenes will remind you of some of Jackie Chan's classics, as the cast is full of martial arts experts. The fight scenes, such as when Scott Adkins is faced with an axe-wielding maniac in his apartment, are truly worth rooting for. The non-stop punches, kicks, and bullets will make this movie a dream sequence for the action lovers. There is an element of comedy in the film to balance things out, and you end up with a thorough entertainer to clear your head after a long day's work. Ninja 2: Shadow of a Tear, 2013. Casey Bowman, a martial arts master, had his peaceful life shattered after the brutal murder of his pregnant wife. The sinister drug lord Goro is behind the gruesome murder, and he is flooding the streets with deadly drugs. To face his adversaries, Casey must sharpen his combat skills and prepare for an ultimate confrontation. Can he live up to the name of a ninja and bring justice to his dead wife? This is probably one of the best ninja films since American Ninja. Things seldom go wrong when the famous action director Isaac Florentine teams up with martial arts expert Scott Adkins. The action scenes are so intense that during filming, Scott Adkins injured his back. This required a body double to perform many of the stunts. the first time when it needed to be done for Scott Adkins. The scene where Scott Adkins takes on 6 guys in a dojo is sure to leave you spellbound. Even with a meager budget, there is no use of shaky cam or choppy editing to accomplish the fight sequences. You have some delightful long-shot takes of moments involving kickboxing, karate, and some cool weapons. We wonder what this movie could have done with a meatier budget. It is high time that Scott has starred in some big-budget blockbusters, because he certainly is talented enough to make the cut. Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning, 2012. A brutal home invasion kills John's wife and daughter. When he wakes up from a coma in a hospital, he is determined on revenge. The man behind the attack, Luke Devereaux, is his target. But in the meantime, he is pursued by a relentless Unisoul, Magnus. As John plans his revenge, Luke and fellow Unisoul Andrew are planning to build a new order where Unisouls would be in charge. As John gets closer to his mission, he discovers some facts that lead him to question all that he previously believed to be true. This movie is a feast for the action fans, as they get to see Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, and Scott Adkins together in this fight fest. The film begins in a disturbing way, and the opening scene somewhat sets the tone of the whole movie. It is dark and grim, with some gruesome action sequences that are outright brutal. The internal clash between the characters also makes for a captivating watch. The amount of gore and blood ensures that this movie is not for the faint-hearted. The story revolves around Scott Adkins' character, and the screen time for Van Damme or Lundgren is rather limited. There is a slight overuse of slow motion while filming the fight scenes, but that is masked with a delightful portrayal of some realistic combat. The showdown between John and Arlovsky is breathtaking, as they beat each other to a pulp with baseball bats. The climactic fight between Scott Adkins and Van Damme will please the most die-hard action fans. This is different from the other Universal Soldier movies, but is still worth a watch for the power-packed performances. Eliminators, 2016. An ex-federal agent, Thomas, hides in London with his daughter as part of a witness protection program. When 3 men break in, he is forced to kill them, and somehow this makes the news on TV. Those who are looking to assassinate him now send the deadliest assassin in Europe to get him. He has to protect himself and his daughter from those in pursuit, and get the better of the US crime boss. This is one of the movies where Scott Adkins has a chance to display his acting skills. Beyond his martial arts excellence, he is amazing in some emotional scenes involving his daughter. The highlight of the movie, however, remains the unforgettable stunts performed by Scott. Stu Bennett and Daniel Caltagirone also deliver the goods in their respective roles. Besides the well-done choreography, the cool locations in London add to the visual delights. There are some funny moments, such as when the intruders find out they're in the wrong house and soon get the beating of their lives. There's a similarity in the death of the character Bishop and the death of Lundgren and Universal Soldier that will catch your eye. Eliminators is no classic, but we assure you that you won't be able to leave the couch for the entire duration. Avengement, 2019. What happens when someone is imprisoned for someone else's crimes? A revenge drama is what follows. And this movie is about such a character named Kane Burgess. He trains within the prison's walls, getting stronger, and plans his revenge when he will be released. When he manages to escape from the confinements of his prison cell, he seeks out those who are responsible for his false conviction. Things are soon about to get bloodier than a slaughterhouse. Avengement is not your regular fight movie. and is characterized by some good storytelling. There is tension in the air as every scene unfolds, keeping you in anticipation. The fight scenes are brutal but realistic, and this is a pleasant change from the superficial, over-the-top sequences that usually ruin B-movies. There are some gruesome moments of bloodshed, such as when a skull and face are smashed with a hammer. The concluding battle sequence is more of a bloodbath, with the relentless Scott Adkins smashing the hell out of his enemies. Jesse V. Johnson does a commendable job with the direction, and he skillfully traces the character transformation of Kane Burgess from a common man to one seeking vengeance with the nothing-to-lose mentality. Credit goes to Scott Adkins for pulling off the challenging role, and besides his artistic flying kicks, he also aces the right emotions. This is a sign of Scott Adkins getting better, and maybe in the time to come, we will see him embrace more meaningful roles. Savage Dog, 2017. The movie is set in Indochina in the year 1958, when there was absolute lawlessness. Vietnamese warlords and European criminals control the town and run a ruthless labor camp. In prison, Martin Tillman, a former boxer, fights in tournaments where these criminals gamble big money. When his time of release draws near, he simply wants to return home. But the criminals who run the jail use all their powers to see to it that he remains locked up. When he is forced into a corner, Martin fights back and confronts the 5 crime lords responsible for his condition. You're probably used to seeing Scott Adkins in roles that have him display his martial arts finesse. Here, you will see him as a bare-knuckle fighter, where his skills are restricted to some punching work and lethal kicks. The scene where Tsung Lei's character, Boone, beats Adkins to the ground is mouth-watering for those who love some brutal action. After he beats the hell out of Adkins, he accidentally throws him to within an arm's reach of a machine gun, and, well, no prizes for guessing the consequence. The movie rises above its low budget to give you some breathtaking fight scenes that will be worth your time. The last half hour of the movie has everything from shootouts to knife fights, and all the kills are gory and brutal. With a high body count, this movie is the modern version of some classics like Commando or Rambo. And Scott Adkins truly discovers himself as the new age action star.
This is all the time we had for today's episode. We hope you guys liked it. We are a very small channel at the moment, and it would be awesome if you guys could take some time to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tell us what topic you want us to cover in the comment section. Have a fantastic day ahead and stay safe.